Baby, the internet did not go to sleep last night. Nobody could. Because Jaguar Wright walked onto a live stream, opened her mouth, and dropped a bomb so loud it cracked every timeline in half. She didn't come for a jab. She didn't come for a warning shot. Jaguar Wright came swinging a sledgehammer at Claressa Shields, at Papoose, at the whole shiny fairy tale the internet has been forced to swallow for months. And honey, before the dust could settle, Jaguar looked into that camera and said the one word nobody was ready for. Plant. Not a champion. Not a wife in training. Not a queen. A plant. Then, baby, hold your cup, because Jaguar turned right around and said Papoose is a plant too. The whole relationship. The whole storyline. The whole Black Love campaign. Jaguar Wright says it's staged. She says she can prove it. And she says she's about to blow the lid all the way off. Grab your tea, grab your seat, grab somebody you love, because tonight the cup is not just full. It's overflowing. Welcome back, baby. You're right where you're supposed to be. Before we spill a single drop, do me one favor. Tap that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video with every friend who lives for real celebrity drama, because what Jaguar Wright just said about Claressa Shields is the kind of tea that only gets hotter the more people talk. Everything we're breaking down tonight is based on publicly available clips and allegations made by Jaguar Wright herself. We are not making anything up. We don't need to. Because Jaguar Wright already said enough for the whole internet to eat off of for the next 30 days. Now baby, sit back, because this one goes deep. Here's what people keep missing. The moment Jaguar Wright went live, the first question wasn't what she said. The first question was why now? Because Jaguar Wright wasn't talking about Claressa Shields like a boxing analyst. She wasn't breaking down Claressa Shields' left hook or her footwork. Jaguar Wright wasn't interested in belts, records, or press conferences. Jaguar Wright was talking about Claressa Shields like a woman who believes something much bigger is playing out behind the curtain. And baby, when Jaguar Wright talks like that, you better pull up a chair, because she doesn't waste breath on small potatoes. Jaguar Wright pointed out something the internet has been whispering about for months. Every single woman caught in these viral online beefs, Jaguar Wright says, somehow has a project dropping right after. A single. A show. A fight. A book. A tour. According to Jaguar Wright, the timing is too clean. The controversies are too convenient. The storylines are too polished. Jaguar Wright called it what she believes it is. Manufactured. Staged. Scripted. And baby, once you hear a woman like Jaguar Wright say the word scripted, you cannot unhear it. Because Jaguar Wright wasn't accusing Claressa Shields of losing a fight. Jaguar Wright was accusing Claressa Shields of playing a part in something the audience was never supposed to notice. That's when the whole tone of the live shifted. Jaguar Wright stopped talking about boxing. Jaguar Wright zoomed all the way in on family. Because for Jaguar Wright, this was never really a sports story. It was never really a rap story. This, according to Jaguar Wright, is a family story. A marriage story. A child story. A history that existed long before Claressa Shields ever entered the chat. Baby, Jaguar Wright reminded the whole internet that Papoose is still legally married. Jaguar Wright reminded us that there is a little girl in that home who has to log on and see her father's name trending next to another woman. Jaguar Wright reminded us that Remy Ma built a life with that man for over a decade. And Jaguar Wright said what a lot of people at home were already thinking but were too scared to type out loud. Claressa Shields, according to Jaguar Wright, should have stayed out of it. Not because of who's right. Not because of who's wrong. But because there's a child watching. There's a family bleeding. And Jaguar Wright believes Claressa Shields signed up to be a starring role in what Jaguar is calling the destruction of a black family in real time. That, baby, is not a light accusation. That is a headline. And Jaguar Wright didn't stop there. Jaguar said the audience has become too comfortable. Too comfortable watching families break in public. Too comfortable turning divorces into content. Too comfortable clapping while somebody's household falls apart. Jaguar Wright says our people were never supposed to be this invested in watching a black family get ripped to shreds for likes and follows. And whether you agree with Jaguar Wright or not, baby, that line stuck. That line hit. That line is the one that keeps replaying on your For You page tonight. And that's when Jaguar Wright dropped the word. The word that took over every group chat in America. Plant. Jaguar didn't say it once. Jaguar didn't say it softly. Jaguar Wright said it like a verdict. Claressa Shields, in Jaguar Wright's words, is a plant. And when Jaguar Wright saw people react, she doubled down, tripled down, and then added the twist nobody saw coming. Papoose, according to Jaguar Wright, is a plant, too. 2 plants. 2 performers. 1 story. And baby, the internet turned into a detective agency in real time. People started replaying old interviews. People started pulling up old pictures. People started zooming in on body language, on smiles, on the way Claressa Shields looks at Papoose when the cameras are rolling, and the way Claressa Shields looks at Papoose when the cameras go dark. Everybody, baby, suddenly became a forensic analyst. Because when Jaguar Wright says plant, Jaguar is not saying gold digger. Jaguar is not saying homewrecker. Jaguar Wright is saying something much heavier. Jaguar Wright is saying she believes this whole thing was placed in front of us on purpose. Then Jaguar Wright turned the knife. Jaguar called Claressa Shields the greatest plant of all time. Not the goat of boxing. The goat of planting. Jaguar Wright said Claressa Shields is using clout, using headlines, using controversy, all to keep her name loud while the real questions in her career go unanswered. And then Jaguar Wright dropped the sentence that made every jaw hit the floor. Jaguar said she knows what Claressa Shields is afraid of. Jaguar said she's about to expose it on her next podcast. Jaguar Wright said the receipts are coming. And baby, once somebody says the word receipts, the whole conversation changes. Because now the audience isn't just listening. The audience is waiting. But hold on, because Jaguar Wright wasn't done cooking. This is where it goes from spicy to scorching. Jaguar Wright took her aim off the relationship and pointed it straight at Claressa Shields the person. Jaguar Wright questioned her judgment. Jaguar Wright questioned her maturity. Jaguar even brought up a moment on television, during the pandemic, on a show with The Rock, where Jaguar said Claressa Shields looked, in her words, like a whole bum. Jaguar Wright said Claressa Shields, a professional fighter, 4 months off a fight, couldn't handle an obstacle course. Jaguar Wright said a white girl beat her. Jaguar Wright said a black girl beat her. Jaguar Wright said Claressa Shields is not what Claressa keeps saying she is. Baby, those are not soft words. Those are surgical words. Then Jaguar Wright picked up the biggest bat in the yard and swung it. Fraud. Jaguar Wright called Claressa Shields a fraud. A 30-year-old fraud. Jaguar said she has been talking to real people inside the boxing world, the same world Claressa Shields claims to care so much about. And according to Jaguar Wright, those people are not backing Claressa's story. According to Jaguar Wright, the machine around Claressa Shields is bigger than the truth about Claressa Shields. And baby, when Jaguar Wright calls somebody a fraud, Jaguar Wright is not questioning one decision. Jaguar Wright is questioning the entire building. Every trophy. Every headline. Every magazine cover. Every greatest woman of all time post you've ever seen. Jaguar Wright wants the whole thing put under a microscope. And then, honey, Jaguar Wright walked straight into Claressa Shields' own house. Boxing. Jaguar Wright brought up the upcoming fight. Jaguar Wright called it handpicked. Jaguar Wright said it's not the fight Claressa Shields should be taking. Jaguar said Claressa Shields has been running from a rematch fans have been begging to see for years. Jaguar Wright said you cannot call yourself the greatest of all time if you're scared to run it back with somebody who already tagged you. And baby, that is a knife in the goat conversation. Because in boxing, ducking is the loudest word in the language. Jaguar Wright didn't stop there. Jaguar Wright asked a question that lit the internet on fire. 16 wins, 3 by decision, and you want the GOAT crown? Jaguar Wright said you need at least 25 real fights before the greatest conversation can even start. Jaguar Wright pointed to Layla Ali, who by Claressa Shields' age already had a full card and a story stacked with big names. Jaguar Wright said Claressa Shields is spacing her fights out on purpose, protecting a record that Jaguar Wright believes cannot survive the challenges the real greats had to survive. Baby, whether you rock with Claressa Shields or not, that question is now living rent-free in every boxing group on the internet. And once the GOAT conversation is cracked open, it does not close back easy. But listen, baby, because none of it, was Jaguar Wright's biggest bomb. Jaguar's biggest bomb was one sentence about Papoose. One sentence. Jaguar Wright said, exactly why Pap likes her. Easy to control. Read that again. Easy to control. Baby, when those 4 words hit the timeline, the whole conversation flipped inside out. Suddenly this wasn't a love story. Suddenly this wasn't a romance. Suddenly people weren't debating chemistry. People were debating power. People were debating influence. People were debating whether Claressa Shields, this loud, brash, self-proclaimed GOAT, is actually the one in the driver's seat, or whether Papoose is quietly steering the whole car. Jaguar Wright wasn't describing a couple. Jaguar Wright was describing a dynamic. And a dynamic, honey, is a very different animal. And that's when Jaguar Wright dropped her final theory. Jaguar said this whole thing feels like reality television. Jaguar said the audience is not watching a genuine love story. Jaguar said the audience is watching a carefully packaged narrative. A script. A show. A rollout. And baby, if Jaguar Wright is wrong, then Jaguar just took a huge swing at a real relationship. But if Jaguar Wright is right, if even part of Jaguar's theory has any weight, then the entire storyline that millions of people have been emotionally invested in for months is not what it looks like. That is why this tea will not cool down. Now, baby, let's take a breath, because we have to talk about the pattern Jaguar Wright says she's been watching. Jaguar says every time Claressa Shields is about to fight, the noise gets louder. Every time Claressa has a moment coming up, Claressa Shields is suddenly in a headline. Jaguar Wright says the timing is too neat. Jaguar Wright says the drama shows up on schedule. And whether you agree with Jaguar Wright or not, honey, you cannot deny that Claressa Shields has been trending non-stop, and that trending translates to pay-per-view, to sponsorship, to eyeballs, to money. Jaguar Wright is basically saying the drama is the marketing plan. The beef is the billboard. The tears are the ticket sales. And that, baby, is a very serious accusation to lay at the feet of a woman who claims her whole life is about the sport. And here's the part that made the room go quiet. Jaguar Wright said she isn't doing this for Papoose. Jaguar said she isn't doing this for Remy Ma. Jaguar Wright said she isn't doing this to be messy. Jaguar Wright said she is doing this for one reason. That little girl. That child who has to watch grown adults argue about her father in comment sections. That child who will one day type her own last name into a search bar and see what the whole world was saying while she was still small. Jaguar Wright said the black family is being desecrated for entertainment, and she refuses to sit quiet while it happens. Now baby, love Jaguar Wright or hate Jaguar Wright, that message hit different. Because that message wasn't shade. That message was a mirror. And of course, once Jaguar Wright said all of that, the counterarmy came out. Fans of Claressa Shields flooded the comments. They defended Claressa's record. They defended Claressa's medals. They defended Claressa Shields' right to date whoever she wants. They said Jaguar Wright is bitter. They said Jaguar is jealous. They said Jaguar Wright is chasing relevance off Claressa Shields' name. And baby, that's the thing about Jaguar Wright. Jaguar never comes softly, and the internet never receives her softly either. Jaguar is a lightning rod. Jaguar Wright is a whole thunderstorm in one person. When Jaguar speaks, half the world claps and the other half loads up. But nobody, and I mean nobody, ignores Jaguar Wright. Then there were the Papoose defenders. The old-school hip-hop heads who remember when Papoose was walking around New York with the crown on his head, freestyling on every corner, waiting for his wife to come home. They said Papoose is a grown man who can love who he wants to love. They said his marriage situation is his business. They said Jaguar Wright has no receipts, only theories. But Jaguar, honey, said the receipts are coming. Jaguar Wright said the podcast is loading. Jaguar said the boxing world is talking. And Jaguar Wright said Claressa Shields should be very, very careful what she says next, because Jaguar is not the one you want to poke twice. Now let's zoom out for a second. Because whether you believe Jaguar Wright, or you think Jaguar is spinning a story, one thing is undeniable. Jaguar Wright forced a question the whole internet has been dancing around for months. How is it, baby, that a woman who is not legally divorced, a man who is very much still legally married, and a champion athlete with a huge platform, all ended up starring in the loudest online soap opera of the year? How is it that every plot twist arrives right on time for a promo cycle? How is it that every diss, every subliminal, every Instagram post, every live stream lines up with a project drop, a fight card, a podcast episode, or a headline moment? Jaguar didn't invent that question. Jaguar just said it out loud with her chest. And that, honey, is the real reason this went viral. Not because Jaguar Wright said something new. But because Jaguar Wright said what a lot of people already suspected. Jaguar gave language to a feeling. Jaguar gave a word to the whisper. Plant. That word is going to follow this storyline for as long as this storyline breathes. Every time you see Claressa Shields trending, somebody in that comment section is going to type it. Plant. Every time Papoose posts, somebody is going to type it. Plant. Every time Remy Ma responds, somebody is going to type it. Plant. Jaguar Wright didn't just start a rumor. Jaguar branded the whole situation. And branding, baby, is forever. There's another layer we have to touch. Jaguar Wright pointed out that Claressa Shields keeps talking about wanting babies. Jaguar asked why. Jaguar basically said Claressa Shields is stepping into a situation where a child already exists, and instead of protecting that child's peace, Claressa is publicly dreaming about adding more babies to an already unstable picture. That, honey, is a very heavy critique. Because Jaguar Wright is essentially arguing that Claressa Shields is not thinking about the family that's already in the room. Jaguar is arguing that Claressa is thinking about the story. And in Jaguar's world, if you are thinking about the story more than the child, you have already told the audience everything they need to know. And the receipts Jaguar Wright hinted at, baby, that's the loop nobody can close until Jaguar decides to close it. Jaguar Wright said she's clocked in. Jaguar said she's about to clock the T. Jaguar Wright said she has been talking to people inside the boxing world about the real fight, the ducked fight, the one Jaguar says Claressa will not touch. And baby, every single boxing fan on the timeline right now is asking the same question. Which fight? Which fighter? Which rematch? Jaguar didn't drop the name in that clip. Jaguar teased it. Jaguar dangled it. Jaguar Wright turned it into a cliffhanger. Which, honey, is exactly how you know Jaguar Wright is not new to this. Jaguar is a strategist. Jaguar knows exactly how to keep a story burning. Now let's talk about Claressa Shields' silence. Because Claressa is famously loud. Claressa fights on Twitter. Claressa fights on Instagram. Claressa Shields talks on every podcast that will book her. Claressa is not shy. So when Jaguar Wright drops a bomb this heavy and Claressa Shields goes quiet, baby, that quiet becomes its own tea. Fans are asking why. Is Claressa plotting? Is Claressa waiting? Is Claressa Shields being told to sit down? Or, as Jaguar would ask, is somebody controlling the microphone from behind the scenes? Because if you buy Jaguar Wright's theory even a little, then Claressa Shields' silence right now is very, very loud. And Papoose, honey, hasn't fully addressed it either. That's the other thing that has fans talking. Papoose is a veteran. Papoose has been in this game for over 20 years. Papoose knows how to fire back. Papoose knows how to write a whole track in a night. But right now, all the internet is getting is soft posts, cryptic captions, and vibes. No direct response. No full statement. No sit down. Just quiet. And Jaguar Wright, baby, thrives in that quiet. Because every day Claressa Shields and Papoose don't respond, Jaguar Wright's theory grows louder in the audience's imagination. Let's not forget Remy Ma in all this. Because whatever you believe about Jaguar Wright's plant theory, Remy Ma is the human being in the middle of this. Remy Ma spent years standing on business, holding her family down, and building a legacy in a genre that eats women alive. And now Remy Ma is watching her marriage become content. Remy Ma is watching her daughter's father become a meme. Remy Ma is watching another woman go back and forth about her family on live streams. Jaguar Wright, baby, is essentially saying to the audience, stop clapping. Stop laughing. Stop turning Remy Ma's pain into a punchline. Because Remy Ma is not a character. Remy Ma is a real woman. And Jaguar wants that on the record. So where does this leave Claressa Shields? Baby, right now Claressa is standing at a very tricky crossroads. If Claressa ignores Jaguar Wright, Jaguar keeps talking, and Jaguar Wright's theory keeps spreading. If Claressa Shields fires back at Jaguar, she hands Jaguar even more airtime, because engagement is fuel. If Claressa tries to laugh it off, the plant label sticks harder. And if Claressa Shields tries to prove Jaguar Wright wrong by taking the very rematch Jaguar says she's ducking, honey, then Jaguar Wright basically just booked her next fight for her. Every road out of this maze goes right through Jaguar Wright, and that is a place no public figure ever wants to be. Papoose, meanwhile, is in an even weirder spot. Because Papoose is not just a rapper. Papoose is a father. Papoose is a husband, at least on paper. Papoose is a man who built a public brand on loyalty, on hustle, on marriage, on being the guy who waited for his wife. Now Jaguar Wright is telling the world that image was a costume. Jaguar is saying the whole brand was PR, baby. That is the kind of accusation that follows a man for the rest of his career. Whether Papoose responds or not, the audience is going to look at every Papoose interview from now on with different eyes. And Jaguar Wright, honey, is the reason. Jaguar handed the audience new glasses. There is no giving those glasses back. So we have to ask ourselves some real questions tonight, baby. Was Jaguar Wright exposing a system that has been running in plain sight for months? Was Jaguar warning us that our favorite storylines are actually rollouts? Was Jaguar telling us that Claressa Shields is not the villain, not the hero, but a hired actress in a soap opera that was written before we ever tuned in? Or, honey, was Jaguar Wright simply lighting a match on a night when the internet was already dry grass? Both can be true. Both often are. But here is what nobody can argue with. Jaguar Wright shifted the conversation. Before Jaguar, the debate was about who won a rap beef, or which woman said what about who. After Jaguar Wright, the debate is about whether we, the audience, have been played. That is a huge leap. That is not gossip anymore. That, baby, is media criticism dressed up in tea. And that is why this clip is going to keep circulating long after the next scandal takes over the feed. Because Jaguar Wright didn't just spill tea. Jaguar poured tea on the whole tablecloth. Now the biggest domino, baby, is what Jaguar Wright does next. Because Jaguar promised receipts. Jaguar promised to expose. Jaguar promised to name the ducked fight, name the plant network, name the machine she says is running behind Claressa Shields and Papoose. If Jaguar Wright shows up on that next podcast with real names, real timelines, real screenshots, honey, this becomes the story of the year. And if Jaguar doesn't, then Jaguar hands her critics ammunition for the next decade. Either way, all eyes are on Jaguar Wright. Which, if we're being honest, is exactly where Jaguar likes to be. So tell me, baby, sitting there with your cup in your hand, where do you stand tonight? Do you believe Jaguar Wright is exposing something the industry didn't want you to notice? Do you think Claressa Shields is a plant, or do you think Claressa is just a loud woman in a loud relationship going through a very loud year? Do you think Papoose is playing a role, or do you think Papoose is a grown man making choices we don't have to like? And when Jaguar Wright drops those receipts on that podcast, honey, are you going to be watching live, or are you going to wait for the clips? Tell me in the comments, because Tea with Stella wants to know exactly where the culture stands on this one. Before you go, do me one final favor. If this tea gave you life, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and share this video with the group chat that has been arguing about Jaguar Wright, Claressa Shields, and Papoose all week. Because trust me, honey, the next chapter of this story is already being written. There is a podcast episode coming. There is a fight card on the horizon. There is a rematch demand growing louder by the hour. And there is a very quiet Claressa Shields sitting on her phone right now trying to decide what to do. When the next drop hits, baby, Tea with Stella is going to be the very first cup on your timeline. Until then, keep your ears open, keep your cup close, and remember, on this channel, the tea is always hot, we never water it down, and we never, ever look away. I'm Stella, and this story is far from over.